Today we're talking with Julie Klassen about her new book, A Castaway in Cornwall. Julie, thank you for taking the time to tell us about this novel.
Thank you, Martin. I'm happy to be here with you today.
This lady's book is set in Cornwall, thus the title, which is sort of the southern tip of the UK.
Yes.
Have you been able to travel to Cornwall to do a little research? Have you been there?
Martin, that's my favorite question. Thank you for asking. I love to go to England. I jokingly say that's the real reason why I write, so I can justify traveling over there. So I have been to Cornwall 2 or 3 times. I was intrigued by that county even before the whole Poldark series kind of made a big splash and everyone wanted to go to Cornwall, but I have always been intrigued with it. I have been there a couple of times. I have not been to this specific setting for this novel. My husband and I had reservations to do that in April. And of course, with COVID-19, all those plans were canceled. But thankfully, I found a local tour guide and a helpful museum, and they were all able to help me with my research virtually. So I still hope to get to this specific place someday.
Yeah, that would be nice. I think when a lot of people think of Cornwall, they probably think of, wind-swept coastlines, but of course it's bigger than that. There's an inland to Cornwall. How important is a setting like Cornwall when it comes to writing? Does it infuse itself into the story? Do you make sure that we sort of never forget where we are in that?
I hope so. I can't say that every book is that married to the setting, but this one certainly is. It's definitely it's how we start, how we meet the character. She's sort of an outsider into this setting and learns to appreciate it over the whole course of this kind of adventure that she goes on. So you've got shipwrecks and the weather and the waves, and all of that is a very big part of it. And I love doing that. I love having the setting be such an important, integral part of the book.
Right. Well, that leads kind of to my next question. You have a shipwreck, and obviously there's tragedy associated with that. Is it difficult writing about tragedy? I mean, there can be some pretty raw emotions that kind of rise to the surface. Is that one of the hardest things to write about, or is it harder to write about the romance?
I think things like, shipwrecks, I've got a lot of historical, evidence and accounts. So actually that comes fairly easily. And, I'm not reading about the shipwreck of someone I personally knew and loved. And often the villagers, they had no idea, this strange ship was wrecked. Obviously there were also local fishermen and all of that who would have their tragedy would be much closer to home. But I do find the more intimate moments and the romance and the love trying to make that realistic, which is not based necessarily on any real historical facts. That takes a lot more imagination and creativity. So I'm going to say that's actually the harder of the two. Call me hard-hearted.
Now you do want to get to this little town in Cornwall, but are there other areas in the UK that you've always wanted to get to that you have not had a chance to visit yet?
Oh, another favorite question. I have been mostly to the lower half of England. The last couple times ago when we were there, we did get further up north, more into the Peak District, and there is still this thing called the Lake District, whole beautiful area, Beatrix Potter area that I have not been to. So if I had to pick one, I'm going to go with the Lakes District someday.
All right. Well, we look forward to that series when it comes out. Julie, thanks today for telling us about A Castaway in Cornwall. Looking forward to its release. It releases in November, just in time for Christmas, and we wish you all the success with its release.
Thank you, Martin.